All right. So, Spider-Man Noir came out this week, and all 8 episodes are on Prime. There's no weekly wait or anything like with Daredevil or anything. So you just got to watch every episode immediately. And right now, I just want to do a video to do my I guess a review of the show this season. I'm not gonna go into too many spoilers because I do want you all to see it for yourselves because the show is really good. Just like right off the bat, the show is good. Like if you're watching this video to see if it's good or not, then it's good. Okay, if that's what you were trying to figure out. But to go into a little bit more detail, um, you know, Nicolas Cage. I was wondering about Nicolas Cage playing him because, especially with it being live action, because he did a great job in Spider Verse. But Nicolas Cage is up there in age now, so I was wondering how they were gonna, how it's gonna work. Because he's gotten to the point now that he looks like he's in his, I think he's like in his 50s, probably mid to late 50s. Um, but he looks like he's older, and I was wondering how that was gonna work with all the action sequences and stuff. But they did a good job. Like for one thing, first and foremost, if you're looking for something that's I guess like full blown just action, action packed all the way through, then that's not necessarily what Spider Noir is. It has action. Don't get me wrong; it has plenty of action. In fact, um, I would say out of the 8 episodes that they have, there's probably only two, maybe, that just don't really have any action, and that's not really that bad. Cause like I said, it's a I don't want to say it's a detective story per se, but it is because he's a private investigator. But he's not like doing like solving mysteries or whatever. He's if you've seen like Jessica Jones, it kind of puts you in the vein of that. He's being hired to follow people or whatever, take pictures, stuff like that. And then he kind of investigates different things, of course. But the the point of the show is really he's dealing with Silvermane, who is for all intents and purposes, and Silvermane usually is like a crime boss, but he definitely has like that Kingpin Wilson Fisk vibe to him in this show. But they obviously couldn't use Fisk, so he's the replacement for it. Then you have the power people that, if you saw the trailer, you see Sandman, you see Electro, and you see Lonnie Lincoln Tombstone, which I didn't know. I didn't know who Lonnie was because that's the one character on there whose powers didn't really. I don't think they really translated as well on the show. Because I was sitting there until I heard his name said. I was like, "Who is that? Who is he supposed to be?" Because for a second I thought he was supposed to be Rhino, but then eventually I listened that I heard they said his name was Lonnie, so I was like, "Oh, okay." But um, like how they get their powers and everything, they go into it. You don't find out to basically the middle of the season, but it's interesting. It's an interesting way of how they went about giving them their powers, and then there's a crux to their powers as well. That again, I'm not going to go into too much right now about what it is, but basically they're a foil to Spider-Man, but not like majorly. It's like they're not a issue throughout the whole season. Um, Honestly, eh, when you see Spider-Man, he's dealing with a lot of Silvermane stuff, or he's investigating stuff, but it's not like he's fighting like this a super villain every episode, right? In fact, Electro didn't pop up until literally like the middle of the season, um, and Spider-Man is kind of surprised seeing him. He's like, "Who are you?" So, but in the midst of the episode, because it's late in the season where they talk about the origin of the villain's powers, and then you kind of it's nice because they tie their origin together, or they tie Spider-Man's origin in with theirs, because of course Ben Riley fought in the war, and now that I mentioned that also, because I just thought about the fact that I said his name again. For those of you wondering, for those of you who are fans of Spider-Man Noir, or for those of you who know Spider-Man Noir through Into the Spider-Verse, you're probably wondering why Ben Riley is his name instead of Peter Parker. Well, there's an in-universe answer and there's a real-world answer. So the real-world answer is there's a legal document, if you will. I can't remember the right term, but there's a agreement or a contract that Peter Parker, when he's using media, he can only do certain things. Like it's like this laundry list of things. Like he can't drink, he can't smoke, he can't take people out, and things of that nature. And that's just like a few of the things that just pop off at the top of the head. Um, and I've seen people online complaining about those restrictions, but in this day and age, with what writers and everything try to do to these characters, as much they try to change them and everything, I can understand that those restrictions, because it's like otherwise you would have some foolishness with the Spider-Man character, and that's not it's not a good idea. So that's the real world answer. They changed it to Ben Riley so they could have him smoking, have him drinking, and have him doing the stuff he does in the show. Now in the show, it's a passing comment, and if you don't pay attention, you'll miss it. But essentially, again, Ben was in the war, so in the episode, or one of the episodes, one of the soldiers that he saved, because he saved some prisoners of war, they mentioned that he mentions that, had I known who you were, I would have came to your doorstep asking for help a long time ago. So basically, he changed his name to Ben Riley. He hadn't always been Ben Riley. He changed his name, and they don't tell you what his name was before it was Ben Riley, but I mean, it's kind of obvious. It's very obvious what his name was. I mean, I don't think that's something that takes a lot of thought. I don't think it takes a lot of thought. You know, we know what his name was. We know what his name was. They just couldn't say it because of the legal reasons. But yeah, that was good. And then one thing that I liked that you really don't see often, and I guess this is their way of trying to make it a little slightly realistic. But Nick Cage's Spider-Man in this, he didn't just get bit. First of all, when you see with the nature of how he gets his powers, that's crazy too. But it's not that he got his powers and that was that. He actually has like these ticks, and that's because of like the spider DNA or whatever in his body. He has like these ticks and movements that he does that he said he has to kind of concentrate to keep in check, and that's interesting because we don't really see that when he mentioned it, because I think he had did it earlier in the show, and I didn't know what he was doing. I just kind of figured it was just like a Nicolas Cage kind of funny thing he was doing, but no, there's these ticks that he has, and it's because of the spider DNA in him, and that was very unique because it's not often that there's like a side effect to him getting his powers, and in this show he actually had like a side effect to having the powers. Now, one of the other things about this show is very much so kind of taking place in this, I guess you could say in this Spider-Man No More-esque type of situation, because we're coming in on Riley having quit being Spider-Man because of something that happened, and he's very jaded and cynical about a lot of stuff, and he for the first, and especially in the first episode, he just refuses to use his powers until he really has to. So that was a good way of handling that too, because you kind of have to follow him on this journey, because I don't think he truly becomes Spider-Man again until maybe the second episode. It might be like in the middle of the second episode, but everybody, like I said, everybody did a good job. Like Cat, I had to mention Cat. cat, Hardy, is supposed to be obviously the black cat of his world. People were complaining because of the actress that, or some people were complaining because of the actress that was cast. She did a damn good job. She's also the lady from Sinners, and I didn't realize that till I was watching it. And Prime gives you the little cast or who's in this scene, and then they tell you what they've done. And I was like, oh, that's the lady from Sinners. And just like in Sinners, she did something stupid in here too, but you'll see it when you see it. But she did a good job. Silvermane was very threatening, and he definitely had a Fisk vibe to him. I'm being honest. Like I said that before, but he screamed like Fisk. I'm being real. He really screamed Fisk. The show is like obviously this 1920s aesthetic. They're very they have a good attention to detail because Robbie Robertson is on there and he's a reporter now. I'm gonna have to go back and look in the history books. I don't know if they how many black people were reporters back then, but regardless, it very much so doesn't shy away from how the world was then, especially when it comes to black people. Because while Robbie isn't while he's not constantly complaining about his status or whatever or how things are for him, there's just little things here and there like you see this sign that says whites only or something like that in one of the places he goes to, and then even when he gets his job at the Bugle, he's like sitting off to the corner and like all the other people are like looking at him and stuff. So it does its homework, or it did its homework with the historical context, and even with the if you I'm going back to high school U.S. history here, but if you remember because this is taking place during the Depression, if you remember like the Hoover houses or whatever, those are actually shown on here too. So there's a lot here. The show, they did a really, really good job with the show, and I guess that's to be expected because the Spider-Verse people worked on it. But that's I guess all I'm gonna say for right now without actually spoiling the whole series. I might do another video talking about actual spoilers in the episodes and everything. But I highly recommend you check out Spider Noir because it's awesome. Nicolas Cage knocked it out of the park, and you will enjoy it. Trust me. So hit that like button. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comment section. Hit that subscribe button for more, and remember, we have the high ground. Catch you later.